Good morning and happy Sunday, everybody, if you are listening in on this day, or happy every other day on any other day that you will be listening. Welcome to Hi-Bruin-Nation, pronounced Hi-Bruin-Nation for some creativity here. I'm Cam. You may recognize me from other episodes of the Sin Bin and our mainstream podcast, the Pucking Around podcast. I'm joined today by one of my best friends who lives down on the South Shore, fellow Bostonian, Christian. Today we're going to talk about the Bruins, and that's basically what this show is going to be all about. So you may have noticed the Had Normals podcast on Pucking Around Media, the Pucking Around podcast. This is going to be the Bruins variant of that. Pretty soon, Alex, who is also a member of the Pucking Around family, he'll be coming out with a Flyers segment. I don't know what it's going to be called, but they suck and he sucks. So we're going to see if it sucks altogether. Just kidding, Alex. We love you. But first of all, let's welcome Christian to the Pucking Around family. Christian, how we doing?
I'm doing great.
Good. Just
Doing
happy
great
to
on this
be here.
gloomy day.
Yeah, you're in the car, so this is going to be good for the people viewing. So this will be great.
Yeah,
Just don't. Hopefully, you're not driving anywhere. If
no
so,
promises.
I'll know when the Boston accent comes out. All right, so we're going to talk about the Bruins. And what an amazing season they kind of had this year for their centennial season. So for those of you who didn't know, this is the Bruins' 100th year playing in the NHL, and that is a huge thing for any team or any franchise in any sport to kind of accomplish. And as a local Boston fan, that means the world to me, despite the disappointing loss last year. But hey, everyone thought that we were not going to be as good this year, and look where we are. We are at the top of the Atlantic.
Look at where we were just yesterday against that same team.
Yeah, against Florida. Well, you know what? We own the season record against them.
Really?
Yeah, we are undefeated against the Florida Panthers in the regular season, but yeah, we've won all four meetings, three of them in
Oh, this
regulation.
year. This year.
Yes, yeah, no,
Oh,
not
okay.
last year. No, last
I
year.
thought you were talking about like all year. I'm like, there's no way we've never lost them in regulation.
Oh yeah, no. This year we did not though. No, like the 2023-2024 season we have not. The
Oh, hey,
2022 yeah, the 2022 season didn't exist. That year doesn't it didn't happen. Um,
what season? What are you talking about?
exactly. Last year, I don't know. It was a blur.
Hey, what a way to rebound back against that team last year. Put in some
Especially with their
effort.
talent. Yeah, no, especially with their talent now. Did you watch the game at all yesterday?
Nah, I was too busy working.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to watch it, but I guess it was a very good back and forth. McAvoy set a career high. I think Charlie Coyle got another goal, so he's at 25 goals. McAvoy's at 11, and then Boquist had an absolute snipe into overtime, so that was really good. And Olmark apparently stood on his head, which, that's something we need going into the playoffs. But that being said, we not only have them to kind of play against, but we also have 4 games left. And my question is, how do you think we're going to finish? We currently have 107 points, 1 point back behind the Rangers. The Rangers have a game in hand. We have Washington, Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Ottawa coming up. Not in that particular order, but how do you think we're gonna kind of finish the season out?
I mean, it all depends on what lineups we go with, but that biggest test to right now for playoffs is going to be that Carolina game. We got everyone else, not to diss on them or anything, but the only other team in there in playoffs? You said the Flyers.
No, sorry. We have we
Sorry,
have Washington, Carolina, Pittsburgh, and Ottawa. Two
sorry,
of those four.
Pittsburgh, Philly,
Yeah, two
say
of
that
those
Toronto.
teams are fighting for a playoff spot, which is extremely close. If you've seen the standings, it's insane.
Yeah, this end of the season has been insane for playoffs. Not to go off topic with all the other teams, but everyone, there's been so many unexpected rises. You got Nashville, you got Philly, as we were just talking with Alex's team. But back to the Bruins, again, the biggest test is going to be that Carolina game. Can we hold off with all those assets that they got? They got Gensel, they got um, crap. Who else did they even get? Even from last year, they took Orlov from us. They got Anderson's back in that. Can we play against that team? And I think that's going to be our biggest
Yep.
future sight to how we play during these playoff run.
So that for you, that's the biggest game. I potentially see the closing record being 3-1 with that loss being to Carolina. But then again, I could also see a loss to Pittsburgh. They're playing well. I think they're outlet Tang. I kind of have to double check on that, but I'm not positive. Because they're fighting, and it's Sidney Crosby. I would like to give Washington more credit, but their goalie is what's keeping.
What the best season by what he's 35, best season by 36, best season by a guy of his age ever in NHL history. He's only putting the team more and more on his back to potentially put them in playoffs again.
Yeah, yeah, and Michael Bunt. We actually joked just to quickly touch upon that horrible Carolina trade that when they got Gensel. I mean, in my opinion, Pittsburgh got fleeced because Michael Bunting is not worth Jake Gensel, but he's turning out to be a wonderful fit. And I had actually forgot that Kyle Dubas knows him personally, like when he spent time in Toronto. So that's just a quick touch upon that. So maybe Kyle Dubas saw something that the other GM didn't. But yeah, I agree with you. Carolina is going to be that test. We actually beat them this past Thursday. It was a 4-1 game with Frederick Anderson, and that I believe that Carolina was a fully healthy team, but I think Boston just wanted it more, and I think they needed to show that level of confidence. Um, I'm not scared. I think we're going to finish at the top of the Atlantic. We have a 4-point lead on Florida right now. Um, and we have a 10-point lead on Toronto and a 14-point lead on Tampa. So I think we're gonna have the division. And yesterday pretty much solidified that.
Yeah, I was gonna say yesterday was the biggest
Yeah, that was the game.
nail in the coffin. Not to go too far ahead of it, but for the Atlantic at least.
Yeah, yeah, we're
And
definitely gonna get the Atlantic.
this is after the season of what we did last year, setting the NHL record, and we lost our 1 and 2 down
Yeah.
the middle.
Oh, that's not even it. We didn't just lose Krejci and Bergeron. Including the acquisitions post trade deadline. This is what I'll say. We lost Bertuzzi, Clifton, Orlov,
Hathaway.
Hall, Foligno, Garnet Hathaway. The team has basically lost, I would say, 50% of that talent that it had, and we're still right where we were. I don't know if that speaks to the Bruins locker room or the fact that the teams that should have made that next jump didn't, or maybe the combination of both. Maybe it's both. Um, and then there's that. But personally, I don't think we get the President's Trophy. I don't think the Rangers don't get it.
I'm not even like concerned about that. That's not even in our state. I think Bruins need to worry about getting in that playoff mindset. Everyone's going to have that extra gear in them, wanting to go that extra step. Do you have that extra oomph? Are you going to do that
Exactly.
one extra stride to go get that forecheck, to try and go get that puck, keep it in the offensive zone?
Yeah, that was one of the biggest questions in February and March too. When when so in February the Bruins had one of their worst months, right? They had half of their overtime losses came in February.
Don't remind me.
Don't remind you
I
exactly.
went to the
Horrible.
game against Seattle.
Oh, pain,
7 rows. I was 7
pain,
rows behind it, and that was uh,
pain.
Carlo hit that stride and he fell, and there was a 2-on-1. We were already down at that point. I'm like, game.
Have you noticed this year? Maybe it's just me, or maybe it's just the Bruins. Jelly legs, like they're just collapsing. I don't know. A lot of games I've watched, I've just seen them collapse on the ice.
It's almost like we're giving in to what everyone was saying about us before the season. We came out strong. Don't get me wrong. We had a
Oh
great
yeah,
first 3 months, 4 months. And as you said, once around the new year hit,
cooled
around
off.
All-Star break, what the hell
Oh,
happened?
after the All-Star break was terrible. But historically though, speaking, it's been the opposite for Boston. We've had always been an okay start, and then towards the end, we've actually picked it up. Maybe that's just the way the schedule works. I don't know, and maybe this year it just favored.
Yeah, but then well, I was going to say after what we went through last year, we would think we would have a harder beginning towards the season with us being that NHL
Yeah,
setting record and everything. But,
yeah, and
you know,
oh, real quick, some of the additions. I think Morgan Geekie was a sneaky pickup. That man
that's
is
a
good.
great, I love
Love
that
that
pickup.
signing. Jesper Boquist, another good one.
And not
Fourth
only
line.
that, like these
Yeah.
people are. We keep saying about how we don't have the prospects. We don't have the youth. These are young players, but they aren't old. They're gonna have some years. They're gonna be able to carry it through what we keep considering this dark time post Bergeron, post Krejci, Marchand. He's on the team. He's our captain. How many years does he really have left?
Yeah. There is going to be an eventuality where maybe we hit a rebuild phase, or depending on how we handle our assets at the current moment, it could be a very, very quick one. It all
I want to talk
depends.
about 9 months ago when everyone was like, well, Bruins are going to be trash this year. And they kept already playing in their mind, who are we going to trade? We're going to trade Marchand. What are we going to get from Marchand? Because we need to get that. And look at how much we've just flipped from that point.
Yeah, I'll tell you right now. I think even next year, depending on what we do it's going to need to be a big off season for the Bruins. There's no question in my mind. But I think in the off season we'll have to address that, and we'll have to see. But I don't think they trade Marchand. Allmark definitely, but
Allmark needs to go.
he's
I
here.
love him.
Yeah, he's here. I love him too. I want him here. But going off on the side tangents, more and more, and it all stems from the people's doubt in the Bruins this year, and yet there they are. They're top 5 in the league again, minus all these players, and I think that speaks more to the locker room. So I think
Top
that
three.
locker room is
They've
top.
been basically top 3 all year.
Yeah, but I think right now it's a tie. So I'm just saying, I'm just being a little bit broader with it. So yeah, I think that's how we finish ultimately. I think we do well. We get the Atlantic. I don't think we're gonna get the President's Trophy. I don't want it. I don't want it. I don't want it.
That
And
curse.
the only reason I would want it is because of the ideal playoff matchup. I don't want Tampa. I think we're 1-3 against them this year. Or there might be an overtime loss in there, but I know we do not have at least even a 500 record against the team. And that's a little concerning to me. And I know playoffs is a huge beast. It's different. People come out, but you still gotta at least show that you can win. We did show that we could win in the regular season, but we gotta actually hammer down. And if we are gonna face Tampa, and so if you don't know the standing. So right now, the Leafs with 76 games played are
I
4
would
point.
love to play them.
I would. That's what I
I
want, because I want a meme. I want a meme. And the
Big
way it
brother
is right
kicks
now,
little brother's ass.
dude, it's crazy. Real quick on the Leafs. Sorry, Leafs fans, but you guys are so fucking happy that they're finally fighting, and then they're standing up for each other in finger quotations, but they're still losing games
I'm
that
sorry,
matter.
we've been talking about this, even us in our goddamn ESHL lobbies and
Yeah.
fight. Where have the Leafs defense been for like 8
Nowhere.
years?
They suck. They don't have a defense.
An offensive defenseman he is a great offensive defenseman, but he
Oh,
has to
he
now
doesn't
play as a
deserve to be on
two-way.
that team. He deserves so much
He
better.
needs it, but like he has to play as like a two-way defenseman
Yep.
on that team because he is the number one guy. They thought they had it last year getting Mark Giordano. He's too washed.
He is washed. Yeah, and
He's like a good seventh D.
yeah, he's your good 7th. His hockey IQ is insane. And
He's like
Alex will probably yell at us later about this, because I've always said, I'm like, it's not just about the speed of the game, because you could be the fastest skater in the game. That doesn't mean you have the hockey IQ to match it. So I'm like, if you can
have
play the
smart
guy on the
IQ.
zone, yeah. Did you say someone like me? Not like my
That's
hockey
smart
IQ,
IQ.
but
I just
smart
said you
IQ.
need smart IQ.
Yeah, you need to be smart, big smart, humongous big brain,
Big brain.
big brain. I- But so Leafs have 97 points, 76 games played. Tampa has 93 points, 77 games played. So Leafs have a game in hand, and they're 4 points ahead. I don't think Tampa catches the Leafs. If they do, great. That means we play the Leafs. I don't think Florida catches us either. They would not only need to win out, we would need to lose out.
Wait, we're playing the wild card one, yeah?
The
Who do we play
wild
wild
card.
card one?
Yeah, we would play wild card one. If it sits, if this stands. So if we
So
just
who, as
if
of right now, who is wild card one?
Tampa. Yeah, the wild card 2 is not catching Tampa.
No, I'm like, I I'm thinking, I forgot about Florida for a second. I'm thinking just Tampa, Toronto.
Oh
Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
two,
yeah, yeah,
three.
yeah. So as it
Okay, yeah.
so as it sits, it's in the Atlantic. It's Boston,
And
Florida,
then
Toronto, Tampa.
wild card 2 is Detroit, right?
Wild card 2 is up for grabs completely,
I
but
don't even like
they're not going to jump.
Detroit
They
or
cannot
Philly
jump.
or whatever. Okay. I was going to say, I
Yeah,
don't
they
like any
can't
of those
jump
other
Tampa. It
matches.
is a statistical improbability that any of the WC2s end up jumping Tampa for wild card 1, but they can jump to Metro 3. That's how low
That's how
that's how low those
stacked
points.
the
Yeah.
Atlantic is this year. And just to, again, I'll bring it back to the Bruins. That's how stacked the Atlantic is. And look at who's sitting on top of the Atlantic.
Yep. Well, I mean, there's been a lot of teams that disappointed this year. I thought Ottawa was going to make a big step. I thought
I
Buffalo
thought
was going to make.
Buffalo.
I
Yes,
thought Buffalo would
there
have
we
made a
go.
big step, and then
Hey,
they go
they
and
got
suck.
Byram. Maybe
Yeah. By the way, Casey
this next
Middlestat
year.
is not equal to Byram. I'm sorry, and all you Buffalo fans who are just like, we have the best defensive core on the left side. I'm like, yeah, good luck paying them. You're going to pay Owen Power,
4
like, huh?
great left defensemen. You have 4 great left defensemen at this time or prospects. But
Yeah.
again, what comes time when, maybe the
Yeah.
salary might be going up $4
Byram has
million.
a cup. Byram has a cup. He's gonna want money. Doesn't matter where you put him. He's gonna want the money, and he's worth it. So, like, I'm sorry. I just don't think Casey Middlestat hasn't won anything yet. So I thought that trade. I'll say this. It was a good hockey trade. It was what the world needed. But I just don't think they were equal. But the likelihood of our playoff matchup is Tampa. I'm a little scared about it. Just because Nikita Kucherov has put that team on his fucking back.
But can he do it all season? The last time he
I
had this
wonder if
good
he'll
of a
get tired.
the last time he had this good of a really good of a season, when they pulled the whole IR BS.
Maybe. I don't know. I don't know how well it's going to carry over. Maybe they get tired. No other team in the last, I think, 5 years has played more hockey than Tampa Bay. And maybe they just needed that last year to kind of rejuvenate themselves a little bit. But I really don't see it. Vasilevsky came off back surgery and he's performing well. But now you're talking into a more high stress environment. I don't know how he's going to play. That defense is solid. And they might get some Mikhail Sergachev back. Big might.
I don't think they get him back till round 2. So if we're talking about Bruins with them, I don't think he's back for that round.
Yeah. So
which is a huge loss to that D core.
Oh, easy. Yeah. You know where he came from, right? They got him from Montreal. So that I will still say that was not a good trade. Yeah, I Habs. The I think the way they beat Tampa, it would need to be a different way that they would need to beat Toronto. Toronto, I think they just have their number and
they can play their game.
They can play their game.
Tampa, they need to play that.
They need to be aggressive on the defensive end. They need to be aggressive.
Play that 2011 Bruins. You got to go back to the old days with Sean Thornton, Greg Campbell going out there with a broken leg and still finishing.
A lot of sacrificing. Needs to happen.
Not to go back try and but go watch tape of that guys.
No, seriously. Well, who was it? So there was actually an interview. There was an interview Frank Vetrano did with someone, and he actually credited, Bergeron, Krejci, Chara, Marchand, saying that that's what they did. They showed him film. They showed him how to be a constant NHLer. They showed him all of these things.
What his most recent interview on Chicklets?
I think so. I think it was on Chicklets.
They just posted either this past week or the week before.
Yeah, and I thought it was a really good interview because Vetrano's having a wonderful year over there, and I'd never had any ill will against Vetrano. I wanted him to stay, but that just goes to show you, though. You're right. You can watch film, you can teach players, and you can say, guys, this is the playoffs. This isn't the regular season. This is for the money. This is for the gold. We failed last year, and we really could have gotten Krejci and Berge that last cup to go right off into the sunset with, and we didn't. So why don't we remedy that situation now? It's our 100th year. I think there's a lot more now to fight for, and I think they learned a lot from last year. I think they played too loosely in the defensive end. I mean, they let Matt Tkachuk walk all over them. Notice now when they play the Floridas, not happening. They're closing in on him. They've learned.
He plays the way. If you want to look at anyone, look at the way Matt Tkachuk plays. Yep. You need to do duplicate that. And as it goes down to those lower lines, I love the way our depth has slowly gotten better throughout the year and the way they've worked. But they need to get more aggressive.
And I
None of
think
this. At least I will admit I haven't watched that much Bruins since I went to the game. But that last game I went to,
that's
the
fine. That's why I'm here. I
third,
got
fourth,
you.
the third, fourth line. You're saying Boyquist. He is a great little player. He's gonna be. He can play good.
He's
2 years
young.
he'll be his
He's
second line.
24.
I was gonna say he can be a great second line player, but right now they need to show that heart and that grit
Second line
in the
might be a
tough
stretch
areas.
for him, but I think he's showing signs.
A middle six.
Yeah, Geeky, definitely a middle six guy too. I don't think they'll be in the bottom, but right now Geeky's playing on the top line. I think right now with Coyle and Marchand, and I think that's where they need to keep him because that line is clicking on all cylinders. Um, and you mentioned you need to play tough hockey, right? And so I think they addressed that at the deadline. I wanted a little bit more at the deadline, but after seeing the play and everything like that, I'm kind of satisfied. They got Patrick Maroon. Which that first meeting with him and Jack Edwards gonna be hilarious. I think that's gonna be funny. He ate a whole pizza.
I was just gonna say they
Yeah,
better
it's
have a pizza or
ridiculous.
something there.
Um, have you noticed though, real quick on Maroon and another player? Have you noticed that Don Sweeney has been bringing in people that Brad Marchand has historically had issues with? Tyler Bertuzzi last year, and now Patrick Maroon this year. Like, I don't know what
Maybe
Don's
it's get a
doing.
little. He's trying to throw a little coal in the fire, get Marchand a little fired up.
I don't think
Maybe
you
he'll
need to
lick
do
someone
that for
again.
him. Like he's always fired up 100% of the time.
Yeah,
It's funny.
I've seen years past. I've seen questionable, but since he's putting that C on, I'll admit I am a little shocked that he got that C this year.
Oh, I'm not.
I especially with just like the way he is identified as like a rat. Which don't get me wrong,
Okay, you have a
love
point.
him. I
Yeah.
love him.
Oh yeah. Well, you love a guy like that when he's on your
If
team. When
he's
he's on any.
if
Yeah.
he's on if he's on Montreal, Toronto, Buffalo that we gotta see him 4 times a year,
Yeah. I hate him.
I'm calling death threats on that guy. I'm getting
Oh
someone to take
wow.
him out.
Wow, Brad,
Imagine
we
like
love you.
I do,
We love you. We love you, Brad.
but no, he's our C, and I hold him
Yeah.
deep to my heart.
Well, there
But
was a question on the
just
pucking
that
around.
image.
Yeah. No, and I agree. Like that. But look at Jacob Trouba.
But since okay, yeah, that's a that's New York. You got
That's
they always
fair.
do
That's
something
fair.
different.
Fuck the Yankees, by the
But
way. Quick. Fuck the Yankees to the Boston fans listening. um. Yeah, I think, but they didn't really have a choice. They did. They could have chose Pasta or McAvoy, but I don't think they're ready. I think one more year, one or two more years, and I think.
McAvoy's our future C. I've said that for years.
Really, you think McAvoy over Pasternak, huh?
McAvoy has more of that voice. I feel like.
I mean, when you got chubby cheeks like him, like I think it just carries. No, I love Chubby Charlie. I love Chubby Charlie, dude.
But I mean, how can you go wrong with a Boston guy?
No, I don't think
I
you
love
can.
and again. But again, yeah, Pasta is our superstar.
Yeah, but oftentimes you see. I mean, look at McDavid. Is McDavid really a good leader in the locker room, or is he just a superstar they decided to give him the C? Well, that
He got the
time will still
C
tell with
too
that.
early.
That was it, yeah, in my opinion. But I think he's grown into that role. But I think that's why they didn't give it to Pasta or McAvoy right now. They don't want to give it to a guy that's just too young. Um, so we're likely going to face Tampa, and they're going to need to play hard, gritty things. Oh, sorry, the other acquisition that I think is going to help with their grittiness, Andrew Peak. I think the guy is actually pretty good. I think that was another sneaky pickup, another younger guy. We're getting younger. That's the thing. I think Don
I
addressed
like
that.
that.
I think Don addressed that because, we're not going to have four. I mean, Maroon, barring Maroon, right? But he addressed that in the offseason. He went and got you Boquist. He went and got Geeky. They're getting a little bit younger. They know that they're aging. Don knows that. So I think he sees it, recognizes it, and we're doing good. And I think Andrew Peak is going to be a sneaky, really good bottom pair guy and might even be able to, if Carlo doesn't want to stay, might even be able to elevate to the second pairing and play that. I think those are two good acquisitions. We didn't need to give up much for them. So, although I think paying what we did for Maroon was a little much, I will say. I think a pick for Maroon should have
Picking a
sufficed.
couple pizzas.
Yeah, a pick and a couple pieces. Like that's it. I didn't like the fact that we gave up Luke to Porokowski for that. But you want to know what? Whatever. I
We'll
went to the
figure
Providence
out.
game last night, and there's a couple pieces of talent that I think could easily replace. So I think that's fine. So we definitely have the pieces to play physical. Trent Frederick is still playing physical. I think JVR can play physical. We have bigger
I
bodies.
love the way Trent Frederick has came out this year.
Oh, he's having a great season. I think I'm glad he's blooming. He's doing great.
Now, all right, well, go ahead. You want to
Yeah.
go down to the lineups now and everything?
No, I was gonna say we can do that, but more importantly, this is the bigger question because the lineups might be solidified. Who starts game one? You think it's Swayman?
Especially with what I like that we didn't get rid of Allmark and everything, but I also hate that we didn't. I feel like in a little bit it's a little selfish of him to deny it and to say no, I want to stay here. I get it. He loves his little romance with and the net and everything, and I love it too. I love the hugs at the end. Love to see it. You're only gonna get it for so long, and you might have screwed the Bruins out of what we could have gotten more at this deadline than we can in this offseason when we are ultimately going to trade him. And then you got to show Swayman that you believe in him, that he is your future.
Well, they do. There's no question. I think that they're showing that. So I'm actually starting
But you got
Allmark.
to show that with game. I feel like you got to start him game one and show him that.
Yeah, I see. I feel like you have to start Allmark because he denied two. So he denied two trades. He denied a trade to Los Angeles and he denied a trade to New Jersey. The supposed return from New Jersey was going to be Dawson Mercer and a first round pick. So we would have gotten our second line right winger, which is what I thought we needed, and we would have recouped a first round pick this year. Okay. If that's the case and you're going to deny it and that's the supposed return, because I bet you Don Sweeney at least told them like what the deal on the table was or
Oh yeah,
what was going on. There was
there's
definitely communication
a lot of stuff that we don't know, but
for
they know a
sure,
lot more.
for sure. So now, okay, you want to stay here? My expectation from you is now you got to go win a cup for me. If you're gonna rob the team of an opportunity to get
Yeah,
to get what they need and do that and claim that you love the team so much, your expectation is now a cup. I want to see you
and
stand on your head, but I will say this: he starts with a very short leash.
100%. But if he does come out there and prove that, it just negates what I just said. Like with his whole value, it's going to
Yeah.
skyrocket his value towards, but that's a straight gamble now
Yeah. But here's the thing: if you're a
willing
team
to do
next year,
that.
and you let's just say the Bruins go all the way, Allmark gets it, Allmark gets the consummate. Let's just give this a completely hypothetical situation because you know me,
Where do I cash that ticket?
yeah, you know me. I'm superstitious. I don't like to go off on it and say like the Bruins are going to easily get it. I really don't. I don't like to say it. It panics me. That's just my
A few
anxiety.
weeks ago.
Yeah, and so like if that happens, Allmark's value goes up, and then he's only 1 year or 2 year removed from a Vezina. Yeah, and the price for him would be high, but
And a
he's
cup in
only
2 years.
yeah, he's it would be a high value if you think about it because he's $5 million cap hit for 1 year. If you're a playoff team, like next year looking in, you could take that seriously and be like, well, that's a cheap goaltender. He's worth a first round pick at minimum, two at minimum, maybe. It depends. I don't know. I don't even know. Maybe I'm overvaluing him, but we'll see.
We'll see where
What
it gets us.
the market warrants. But I think he is going to go at the end of it.
And with the cap going up this year, what do
Yeah,
y'all
but
think of
it's
that?
not by
4 million.
by a lot. They need to
4
do better at
million.
that. Huh?
Yeah, it's going up 4 million next year, isn't it?
Supposedly. I don't think it's solidified yet. It's projected. It all depends on how greedy they're going to be because they're saying like the escrow hasn't been paid off, even though the record numbers
Fucking
of the
Batman.
NHL. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Replace Bettman. Kill him. Replace him with Torts. We need Torts. Give me Torts as the NHL commissioner.
No, No, we need Quinville.
No. I can hear Rick in the background being like, "That's it. Kick him off the fucking show. Get him out of here." He supports Joe Quenneville. No, we don't support Joe Quenneville on here.
I don't.
It'd be a funny meme. Yeah. Okay. Good. So that means we disagree. I think they need to start Allmark, and I do agree with you too in a way that Swayman also should be looked at. He's the future guy, and they
But
need to
now
consider that.
here's the thing. Game one goes on. Say we go with your plan. They do you. Olmark's in that. It's a 2-1 win, 15 saves. You know, it's a great defensive thing, but he doesn't have that spectacular of a game. Do we trust him again?
I would think in a close game, I don't want to put it on him. I feel like, but I'm just saying a short leash where if he's not looking good, if he's not looking like he's
If
playing
he's not
well,
making those, if there are shots going in, or like
yeah,
he lets in 2 goals, but it's not screened, you definitely should have
keep it
had
on a
that.
short leash. Yeah, keep him on a short leash. And the same thing for Swayman too. If Swayman's not looking confident, you believe in both the goaltenders, and they know
That's the
that.
thing. They are. So many other teams have gone off of what the Bruins have built. It is. We just has been have the number one on the list of a 1A, 1B. We have
Easy.
2 1As. That's what
Yeah,
it is.
it's not sustainable though. That's the problem. Not sustainable.
That's why. That's why. Again, ultimately, one of them doesn't need to go, and it is going to be Omar. Sad to say.
Yeah, no, I mean he's older. That's just the only thing. And apparently he's a great guy, wonderful personality. I don't doubt it. You hate to see those guys go. You really do. I cried when Bergeron left. I cried when Krejci left. I cried when Fliggy left. I love Foligno, dude.
Could
I
you
love that.
imagine if any of those players, well, Figgy's over in Chicago now, but could you imagine if any of those teams were to go to another team? Imagine the tears then. Like Bergeron, Krejci, if they like
Oh no, I would. I no,
imagine like
I couldn't
what we're
forgive
doing
him.
with Olmark now, like
Yeah,
leaving. Like I know those guys are true Bruins guys, but like not to bring up a tough subject with what happened this year when Lucic left.
yeah. Well,
Like
Lucic,
that was a guy.
Lucic kind of had to go. He
I'm not talking about this season.
but that was rough to
I'm talking about
see.
like I'm talking about
Oh,
like when
back
he
when he initially
first
went to
left.
Calgary.
I was I was
Yeah.
especially to hear that he
Or the
wanted to
Kings. I
stay
think
here.
it was the Kings he went to. I think it was the Kings
Kings,
first in Calgary, and I think he had
and then
played in Edmonton too.
he did
Edmonton,
play
I
in
think it was.
Edmonton.
Yeah,
Those three.
but no,
Calgary was
that's
where he
good
was at
job.
last.
Yeah,
Calgary was the last team.
yeah.
Anyways, okay.
But then it was But anyway, no, you're right. I think it would suck for anyone to kind of see that, like because those are your hometown people that you've grown up watching and playing. Like I remember growing up and watching
And
Bergeron. Yeah,
it's gonna be that with some people with Omar that have seen him as
yeah.
our true goalie right now. And Swayman's kind of came up and all of a sudden, boom. We do have that other goalie down in.
No, Brandon's good, man. He's good.
So if you want to talk about another 1A, 1B situation,
Yeah, I
it's in
think
the
he has the
works.
potential. Brandon was undrafted. Bruins have hit on a couple undrafted people, Brandon being one of them.
They gather when we don't have any draft picks.
Yeah, well, yeah. Torrey Krug was another. Torrey Krug was an undrafted guy. So if
I
you think
miss
about,
Krug.
I don't. He's washed.
I know he's washed now, but I miss
Don't
Krug. Like
care.
I always see that video of him laying out ironically the St. Louis player with no helmet on.
Oh yeah, can't do that
But
anymore. No,
anyways,
that's a penalty. Yeah, no, it would suck to see Allmark go. So I think you could start either or, but I would like to see Allmark start. But they both should have short leashes, and it's not to say that they're not skilled and they can't do it, but don't be afraid
I think
to
Swayman's gonna
change
get a
them.
little more leeway.
Yeah,
So
go with the goaltender that can get you the best win, and I think the team agrees with that. I think they trust Montgomery's judgment, and they talk about it, and they say
yeah,
tonight's a big night. We're going with him. Do you think you got it? If not, we can go with almost it's a strong locker room and they talk about it. I think that maybe they do. It's not just a unilateral decision in that locker room. All right, the lineup. What's the ideal lineup? I'll why don't I start and I'll get and I'll let you go. So because we might agree on most of this. So the first line or second line, it could go either way with who they start. You know, on that one. So it's going to be Marchand, Coyle, Geeky. I think that's going to be a full line for you. Heinen, Zaka, Pasta. And I'm going to get to Heinen in a second. JVR/Lauko, Trent, DeBrusque. So you swap out Lauko and JVR depending on the matchup because I think you need some physicality from Lauko. Bottom line, and this is all assuming health, right? Maroon, Boquist, Brazeau. Brazeau went down with an injury recently, and he's deemed week to week. So hopefully he's ready for the playoffs. I love that guy.
They could just be anything that's slightly bothering them. Couldn't even be an injury. They're just gonna be like, all right,
Yep,
chill,
and he doesn't make
rest
much
it,
money.
be ready for playoffs. We
Yeah.
need you for play that. And again, that's why another reason why I'm not considering the presidents. We need to worry about having a fully healthy team.
Health.
What you said, we're 4 points in a game ahead of Rangers, right?
Nope, we are 1 point behind the Rangers. Rangers have a game in hand. We are
Okay.
4 points ahead of Florida,
That's what it is.
and we are tied in games. So
But again,
we would have
even
to
that
lose
1
out.
point, even just considering they get that win in that game, with 3 points behind the Rangers, I'm not worried about it.
Mhm.
We got the number 1 in the Atlantic, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I'm happy with
we'll
that.
have that.
The one player I am 100% not on board with, and I haven't been for years, is DeBrusque.
See, DeBrusque and I have a love-hate relationship, or
I know, and
I can
still
love
hate
to
it.
hate him, or I hate to love him. It's one of those things that
Nothing.
depends.
You can sit there and watch it on TV and everything, but back to when I was at the game, watching him, he is the laziest skater on the team. Again, I can't.
That's interesting because he's one of the fastest skaters on the team. You know what it is, and I'm gonna blame it.
He's
His defensive
straggling that
game.
blue line.
His
That's what I'm saying.
defensive
Like,
game can be washy.
I see the pucks behind the blue line, almost in our trapezoid, and he's still up at fucking center ice. Part of my language, but
Yeah, we don't really care here. Fuck.
I know. I try, but like
you try.
He's still at center ice. What the hell are you doing? Get your ass back in the D zone.
Yeah, for someone with his skating ability, no, I can agree. He can be frustrating at times, but when he's on, man, he's on.
Skater.
Yeah.
I bet. If he has a nice thing during like an all-star competition, he could win it. He is a great skater. He can beat someone on the outside, but
he's frustrating. I don't want to say he sucks. He's frustrating because he has the talent, he has the speed, he has the hands, he has the shot, he has it all. I think there to be a solid second line player. He's definitely a second line player. I don't think he's a third line player. I don't think he's a first line player. He's definitely your second line left wing. But
I'm sorry, he's not here next year.
You gotta sign. He's not. You'll sign him because you want to know why? He's not going to get $6 million. He doesn't have the points to garner it. He's going to get a $5 million contract, and it'll be with Boston. That's my prediction. And then we're going to surround some additional talent around the team. We're going to at least attempt to do so. With DeBrusque, I want to attribute maybe what's going on in his head. If it is his head, I blame Cassidy for that because Cassidy just, for whatever reason, the rumors were he bullied the crap out of him.
If you want to listen to anything about a little sneak peek in Cassidy, back to that Frank Vetrano interview on Chicklets, he went into a little bit about what Cassidy would do in the locker room and everything. How hard he is and everything. I just happened to listen to it.
Yeah, and sometimes teams don't respond to that, especially when you
look at how Vegas is going right now. They're almost to the point where
they're banged up, but they're gonna go far. Did you not see the people they acquired? Oh, by the way, fuck Vegas.
We're talking about that whole LTIR thing.
Not the whole LTIR thing. They have no loyalty. They have zero loyalty to their players. Have you noticed that?
Who is on LTIR? Stone, Hurdle.
I think that's it. No, I think they're only carrying like 14. Oh, is Pietrangelo on there?
One of them, I swear to God, is on.
Yeah, fuck LTIR. Vegas, dude.
Like,
you want to know it?
And then don't worry, game 1, it's gonna be that whole meme. Game 1,
buddy, they have healthy. Yes, but they have zero loyalty to their players. There are very few players that remain from the Golden Misfit era. That they're doing whatever it takes to win a championship. Like that's good and everything, but you want to show some loyalty. Yeah, Marchessault is there. Marchessault's there. Theodore was there. Is there? Carlson is there, but they don't have many of them that remain.
That's it. Like one of the other last ones was Riley Smith, and he's over in Pittsburgh now.
Oh God, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the ageless wonders, apparently. Um, sorry, real quick. So those are my forwards that we'll start with, right?
I
Defense,
I I like all that.
yeah.
Again, but
Defense, you got to keep Lindholm with McAvoy. He's
yeah,
not performing with Carlo. That there was a stat that I think someone put out. I think it was Andy Brickley that when Lindholm and Carlo were together, they allowed 11 goals in X amount of time on ice, but the other lines allowed 11 goals in like X amount of games. So they were a horrible defensive pairing.
you gotta
They're not
keep.
horrible defensemen, but that
I love
pairing was not
Grizzlick
clicking.
with Carlo.
Grizzlick needs to be with Carlo. You need Carlo's that shutdown defenseman who's having a
Grizzlick is
sneaky
that
good defensive
offensive.
year. And no, he's more defensive. He has a shot, don't get me wrong, but I would say Grizz is more on the two-way side of things. But Grizz is the puck mover. You need a puck mover with
Yeah,
Carlo.
yeah.
And again, so this is assuming health, right? We're assuming health is there. You need to have Forbort and Peak. That is a very aggressive, tall defensive
I
line.
have yet to see much of Peak. Like, what is
Oh, he's
his
good.
game style?
He's good. He's learning, but I think he's gonna give him a year in training camp, like a full year with us, and I think he's good. He's young, but
Is
I
he
think
always a third line D for us? You think?
yeah,
If
I
you
think he has
considering what we
potential.
have right now,
He has potential to maybe move up a little bit. He could play on the left and the right side, but we put him on. He's primarily on the right. But I think if Forbert gets healthy, you need Forbert back because he was one of the best
you
penalty killers
need
before
him.
he
Shot
was one of the best penalty
blocking,
killers. Yep.
big guy. You lost Orlov, who could have done that a
Yep.
little bit for us last year, but who do we have that's doing it this year? The only other person you're relying
Nobody.
on is Carlo, which
Yeah.
he isn't as good as
No, not as
Eric.
good as Forbert. And you know, we'll keep on the reserve Mason Lowry, Wotherspoon, Kevin Shattenkirk. Those are three good reserves, I think, in my opinion. Lowry's going to be something good, buddy.
I like him.
He is going to be something
Weatherspoon,
good.
I didn't see much of Weatherspoon when I saw him in that game. He was making a few costly mistakes.
He'll
Again, young.
Wotherspoon's all right. He's a little young. I think he needs to. He'll get there. I think give him another year. But I don't. His ceiling for me is still a third line pair. At worst he's a seventh defenseman, which is what he currently is. So, but I think Wotherspoon's fine. But I think Peak is going to be a solid NHLer. We're not keeping Forbert, but if Forbert's healthy, you got to play him.
Yeah,
What do you think? As our
I
lineup
agree.
again, assuming
That's
health.
and then all that. So we agree with everything until it gets down to the net. We're flipping.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with that because I think because that's what you're gonna get when you have a true 1A two 1As like that.
Yeah, it's
You
not even
really
considering a 1A,
yeah.
1B.
But at the stakes this year, I want I want the goalies on a short leash, and honestly, keep the players accountable on a short leash too. That's what it's about. You know what I mean? We want the cup, we want everything, but hold players accountable. I'm not saying that every goal is going to be Olmark's fault or Swayman's fault, but I'm saying if they look uncomfortable and if they look like their confidence is shaking, don't keep putting them into a situation where their confidence is shaking. Give them a day, help them out, be a team. Just be like, you know what? Let's give you a day to practice, give you a day to rest up. We're still in this race. Swayman is hot, ready to go. We're gonna play him. You just get to where you need to be, and then we'll put you back at something like that. They could they could play both of them realistically every other game. They could do that. I'm a little
Two
worried
goalies.
about that.
It's not about that.
Yeah, two goalies. Fuck it. By the way,
One D, two goalies.
have you seen this Philadelphia? Real quick, have you seen this Philadelphia goalie Fedotov? That man is a giant, and there should be a height limit to goaltending. That man is twice the size of the fucking net. That's not okay.
You know what? At
It's
this
like that
point, they just
commercial
got
with the
sumo
walrus.
wrestlers.
Dude, it's like that commercial with the walrus who's taking up the entire net. And they're just like, it's a walrus. Jeez, I can't even freaking score. Like something like that. Like that's hilarious. You know,
Just get a sumo
it's
wrestler
crazy.
to sit there.
Yeah. Um, I have one last question. Who do you think out of the Bruins this year was a huge standout player that you didn't expect? I know mine. Crickets. Crickets everywhere.
I'd say Geeky.
Oh, you're saying Geeky? Yeah, that's a good option.
I didn't know of him. Not gonna lie. He was in Seattle before, not a big market or anything.
Yeah, he was
He
in
has
Carolina
shown.
before that.
He has shown that he can be on the top line. For
Yeah.
someone to be an absolute no name, I'm not saying he's a no name, but casual fans don't really know about him. To now, he is
Yep.
a top liner on a original 16. That's
That's huge.
gotta come with a lot of
See, for me, and I think others might agree with this too, and I think you might also recognize it. So Geeky's up there. To me, he's actually number 2. Number 1 is Danton Heinen.
Okay.
That man, I don't know what it is. When he was here originally, when we drafted him, he was not that great. He took a lot of learning. He went to Pittsburgh, had a great year in Pittsburgh. He comes here, and I'm just like, oh boy. So another third liner. When are we going to look at a second liner? The guy's playing well. He's potting goals. He's working well with Zacha and Pasternak, and they've actually elevated him from third line to second line, and they've been swapping him up and down those two lines. And no matter which
You
of
gotta
those lines he's
work.
playing, yeah, but no matter which line he's playing on, he's actually elevating that line of which he's playing. So he's
Yeah,
elevated
whatever's like
Zacha and Pasta. It's
clicking.
crazy.
I was gonna say whatever's clicking at that moment. Hell, Montgomery has done this throughout the whole year. Switch up lines on the fly.
But he needs to stop it. So I think that's
Why?
also part of the reason why they lost
Why?
last year is that because they're
Last
not
year, yeah.
allowing appropriate time to build chemistry. You got to build some chemistry before you can do that. And you can't always just mirror that in
But
practice. You
that's
and
what
I
I'm
would
saying.
know.
They just all of a sudden Hockey Town.
Yep.
But yes, again, he just kind of started that last year. He's been doing that all this year. This is the team. They have the chemistry this year. I think he can get away with it this playoffs. Not don't sit there and keep playing around with it. If it's not working, it's not working. Go back to your original
Yeah.
lineups. And
I think he needs to just change one variable at a time. Just
oh
one
yeah,
variable. Yeah. Don't try to solve for X, Y, and Z at the same
we're
time.
down. Just not saying anything, but all of a sudden we're down and something's going wrong, and all of a sudden, say Zach and Pasa are absolutely lighting it up. Throw Marchand on that line to get some up there because whoever's playing the wing at that moment just isn't up there with them, or just something like that, because we need that goal, that game, or whatever towards the end. Just throw, yeah, the one little thing.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to do it. Thank you for joining Hi-Bruin-Nation, pronounced Hi-Bruin-Nation. It's a quirky name. We're here for it. We're happy to be here. We're going to try and do this every other week or every week. It depends on what news we got and depends on our availability. Cummings has a family, so he needs to take care of them. I don't. I have a dog, which probably needs to go outside at the current moment, but that's fine. But that'll do it for today. Thanks for tuning in. Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us everything that you ever want. I take Venmo, Cash, and all the other apps, so please send that. Yeah, and don't forget to stay tuned for Pucking Around Media. I'm sorry, not Pucking Around Media, Pucking Around Podcast. Watch the Sin Bin, and give Don't Puck with Media a chance on YouTube. Have a good one, everybody.
Peace out.